All right, hell yeah. We're going to do a little outdoor vlog. We're going to do a little burn pile. And so on my way out, we got some ice water. And then we have this whole thing filled all the way with ice and water because it gets hot doing the burn pile. Now for calories, I don't have much today. I just got a couple oranges. And then on the way out of town, hell yeah, we're going to stop by the store because we're also going to work on, if we were on a road trip, it's always good if you got grocery store access, you just buy like one single item. So we're going to get some OJ, and we're going to get some frozen orange juice. We don't have any place to put it, but it'll kind of thaw out, and by the time we get to it, we'll probably put it in one of these containers. So hell yeah, let's do it. All right, hell yeah. Now we got Winco, it's the cheapest prices in town, and so let's do it up. Hell yeah, just a normal grocery store. But man, it's large. So hell yeah, we're in the frozen section. We're gonna get some OJ. All right, hell yeah, and check it out. You know, we get the real stuff. It's $2.80, $2.81. The fake stuff's $1.98. But booyah, that's a pretty good deal. I don't know. Orange juice is kind of expensive actually, but I use this for running the rivers too. You know what I mean? Ice and orange juice that basically covers my calorie intake for the course of the run. And so, all right, hell yeah. All right, 15 items or less, let's do it. All right, hell yeah, we did it. All right, hell yeah. And then with 20 years of mental illness, I kind of changed my diet up to be like gluten-free and then dairy-free, which really just eliminated most all foods. And then so I just honed in on just a few foods, but then I probably got a little bit malnutritious. I don't know. I think that was mainly the cause of the back pain for 3 years. And so we've just been saying, hell no, we're going to eat whatever the hell we want because we have 20 years of kind of, you know, recovery of mental health, and so we can kind of deal with that. And so be thinking of what, you know, other foods that I could eat, because I think sandwiches would be pretty sweet. You know, if I can eat dairy and wheat, hell yeah, man, just good sandwiches. And we're talking like on the road trips. Like if you're on a road trip, you know, for lunch, just a good cold, you know, well done sandwich, that's going to be king. And so, all right, hell yeah. And stuff that you could probably, you know, go into the grocery store and buy just the right amount. But even like a sandwich, holy hell, if you're buying the meat and then just the, you know, small fixins and maybe you got a cooler for the cheese slices and stuff, for whatever reason, like just food in general is hella expensive. It's really difficult to eat cheap. All right, hell yeah, let's do the burn pile. All right, hell yeah, I want to just film a little bit of this drive. You know, someone's like, hey, you gonna do outdoor vlogs? And so this would be kind of part of it. This is kind of a cool little, we're driving up a creek that basically dead ends, you know, up against, you know, more just canyon. And this road turns to dirt, goes for another 5 miles. And so we got about 2 to 3 miles of this pavement. And in about a mile, there's a bar. And so that's kind of interesting because it's at one of the junctions where, you know, you can go up and over kind of both. You can get out of the drainage and get into other little locations. So behind us is a lake, and I should have shown that, but you know what I mean. Hell yeah. Yeah, and so, yeah, there's just kind of a 35 mile an hour windy road. You got 25 mile an hour corners, so I always kind of like to put a wheel over on the white, just because like right here you got people, and you never know if they're going to be in your lane. And so, hell yeah. So I just come in kind of wide on these corners. Hell yeah. Okay, and in a second here we're going to get to the bar. And so here's one of the main intersections. And so, hell yeah. And yeah, you got kind of, this is like one of the cooler pieces of property that someone built that cabin just in the last few years. So that was pretty sweet. And then so the canyon was kind of tight behind us, and now here it kind of opens up. So you had this kind of like historic flood areas or even glacial little basins back here where you get some fertile land. And so you do get people that, you know, yeah, so this is kind of a nice little neighborhood. People got a little piece of property. All the properties are pretty small. There's one big farm, kind of ranch. I don't even know if I'd call it. It's just someone owns a larger portion of property. All right, so hell yeah. So here's the York Bar. And, yeah. And so this draws a lot of attention, you know. Hell yeah. And then up that gulch is up and over is more properties. Then you can get down to another part of the lake. But that's everything's kind of dead end though. Kind of. All right, hell yeah. I'm gonna show you that big ranch, and then we'll get to our property. All right, hell yeah. So just up over this rise, over there's some RV parks. That's kind of cool. But then here's the biggest meadow. This is one of the biggest landowners, and he's got some toys. He's got a semi. He's got a back loader, you know. And then he always does a huge burn pile for the community. It's even piling up right now. I was never in on that, but I think he allows everyone in the community that lives up here to just throw their wood onto that pile down there. Now, I would do that, but I just enjoy the process of doing my own little burn piles, and then we can use the juice. And honestly, when I do burn piles, I can burn everything in an hour. And I could literally, if I was just like, hey, I got to do this, I could burn a huge pile in an hour and then be done with it. I might be left with some bigger pieces, but no more than a truckload of like extra waste and cool little horses. And so that's kind of interesting, doing your own burn pile. But then in a moment, you know, in a month, it's going to get so hot, and it even is kind of too hot already. You know, you got to be cautious with these burn piles. But in a month, they're going to do a burn ban. It's just such a dry year and such a dry canyon. And so, all right, hell yeah, in another mile, half a mile is our property. Catch you on the flip. Well, I'll continue filming because that's a cool little... Yeah, let's film all the way up to the property. You know what I mean? And so from the York Bar, that ranch was just a stone's throw away that we started filming. And then we're up here. Now, I've actually never got food at that bar, but you could get like they're famous for their York burgers. I don't know. I'm glad I don't. Well, I don't like bars. I despise alcohol on society. Well, I don't despise alcohol. Everyone's addicted to drinking, and then no one has thought of anything else to do with their evenings outside of just spending time in their own house. And so drinking alcohol is the only way to, you know, in America, to hang out outside with a community of people. And so that bothers me, just from a like, hey, I would rather have more illegal drugs, you know. I would rather have people going to an opium den and being hella addicted to just opium their entire life compared to alcohol addiction. Even if it's just alcohol habits, I would... All right, so hell yeah. So here's our property. So here's the meadow. Here's Beards Gulch on that side. No cars behind me. And then here's the meadow on this side. Sorry, I'm just jumping back and forth. And then here's the driveway down into our property. Tried to put a little bit more rocks and just make this, you know, nice. And so we're gonna mow at some point, but we've been weeding. You know, we just got a lot of those weeds. That's the main objective, is to make sure to get rid of those, and then try to find a permanent way to make sure those. All right, so hell yeah. And so we got cool little wood piles, and we're gonna do our burn pile literally right there. And so hell yeah. And then when we're done with it, we just take 5-gallon bucket and bucket water from the creek. Okay, so hell yeah. We're here. All right, hell yeah. So let's do a burn pile, and hopefully I film as we start to pile it up. You can see kind of what's there. All right, let's do it. All right, hell yeah. So this is a utility van, and so we have all our gas, chainsaws, and sometimes we even have our river gear in here because I just don't want to haul that back and forth from the house. And so here's kind of our setup. Now for today, I need to use this van to actually go get wood from, the field. And so I'm going to take all this stuff out and just put it on both sides and then drive back out of here. And so hell yeah. All right, hell yeah, I love stuff like this, like things that are counterintuitive, like how to get into a package. A lot of these things are like this, so you can't steal stuff, by removing it. And sometimes going in the opposite direction of what you think. So actually, I'm just going to go in here and then push down, and that breaks that seal. And so that's really wild. I did that all around, and that thing is now open, and it's even like you could return it that way. And so, hell yeah. That works for packages too. Like if you're trying to steal stuff, not that you would, I just find it fascinating. It's kind of like the lock picking lawyer, is that if you have like a package that you want to push in on it to remove that tape, you know what I mean? You can't get through the tape, but if you push in on the box, then that releases. And so counterintuitive stuff, that pushing in when you want to get something out is counterintuitive. All right, hell yeah. All right, hell yeah. If you want to film stuff, you just need your phone. And this, something to hold your phone. I got this for like 2 for $10 off Amazon. And then, definitely a simple tripod. And so this one goes a long way because it's fairly heavy duty. And you can maybe even attach it to stuff. All right, hell yeah. All right, we're going to start the chainsaw right now so it kind of thoroughly warms up. And I'm going to kind of talk about that. All right, so instead of just reefing on it for the first go, I saw some of the videos and I just thought this was really smart, is to at least, just slowly pull, because then it's going to go kind of easier. Like that first pull might be kind of caught. And even if you do, and I just thought that was interesting that even just doing this like 4 or 5 times, it might warm it up. All right. And then even if it's in the off position, I really don't want to do that. I haven't really experimented with that. But if it was in the off position and then you just do this, it's not gonna turn over. But it might warm up that on a cold day maybe. All right, hell yeah. This might be, so I'm gonna hold the throttle, turn it to the on position. Yeah, we were flooded, and so, just the fact that it's in the full on position and full throttle, it started, so hell yeah. And maybe we did, I actually flooded this potentially because I just poured too much gas in it back at the house, so, all right, hell yeah. All right, hell yeah, that didn't take too long, but now we're totally open in here and we're gonna get some wood. We're gonna start in on that big meadow up there, and then the only other spots just we got some wood up against those bushes that I just wanna make sure that's, if I just do that today, that'll be perfect. The wood up against those bushes, and then just everything into that field that I think is necessary. And we'll take the chainsaw up there. All right, hell yeah, all that came out of just that little area. And And so booyah. And I've already come through here once, you know what I mean? This whole property was totally overgrown. And so, all right, hell yeah. All right, and then so we just have the back gate open, and we just kind of slowly work our way hell yeah. Hopefully we don't drop anything on the roadway. All right, hell yeah, it was scraping, but we didn't drop anything on the roadway. And then we'll just rally down to our wood pile. All right, hell yeah, I think you get it. All right, so this is close enough. We're just gonna pull all this stuff out. All right, and I do want to film because, you know, I can see in my rearview mirror that piece of road back there. So I'm just gonna do my thing, but we have to merge. So I'm just looking in my rearview mirror, just looking for that traffic. No traffic, no traffic. And then once I get up to here, I look that way, and then so there's no traffic, take one quick glance back, but then we just rally into the field. But yeah, I mean, if people are motoring 60 on that 35, that would get a little spicy. People do kind of fly around that corner on occasion. All right, so hell yeah, we're just gonna find the next little spot to get some wood. All right, hell yeah. All right, hell yeah, I need to work smarter, not harder. So we have a pretty good load in here, but just the big stuff, you know what I mean? I was going for like stuff like this, and we just can't, you know what I mean? I need to get the grabbers, but we're gonna, I was experimenting with chopping up wood for like lumber and stuff, but we're gonna get rid of all of this just because it's an eyesore. So we're gonna burn all that, and hell yeah. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come in here and just kind of get this stuff. This is actually can be used as a bridge, so I'm gonna save this because that's a quick little bridge. But hell yeah. But stuff like this, I think I'm gonna be done with. And so sweet, so we're gonna do that. So I made one bridge down there. That bridge was pretty friggin' sweet. Just a big old tree. And that was kind of fun to chainsaw that up, you know what I mean? Like, can you do it? Yeah. And we did it. All right, so hell yeah. All right, hell yeah. So we got a pretty good load. And so a lot of this stuff was kind of just right at this property line. That's the other people's property over there in their field. Yeah, just kind of right through this gully, there was a lot of stuff. This last little debris actually came from that corner over there. Now, I spent a few years just really cleaning out the corners of our property line, just so you didn't have a lot of dead stuff up against the hillsides. And so hell yeah. All right, so hell yeah, so we got that out, and that's what it looks like. And I'm just gonna leave it right there, and the van's empty, just because we're gonna do this kind of campfire style. It's a little bit windy, and I'm kind of gonna hopefully have enough energy to work till it gets a little bit duskier. My plan was to burn about 7, but I want to shoot for 8:30, and then be kind of just finished up at dark. And so hell yeah. And then there's that pile of stuff over there. Booyah. Right, that area is looking real cleaned up. We just have a small little pile, and hell yeah, we're fully loaded in there. Cool. All right, let's do it. All right, hell yeah. So this is staged, and we got an empty van. Cool. So we got a small, maybe just a small load on the other side, and hell yeah. All right, I always carry emergency food, and it looks like we only have one, but hopefully I'll have 2 at some point. But yeah, this is, I don't know if you can see it, albacore tuna, and it's in olive oil. I definitely like this brand. Hell yeah, sometimes these cost like $4. I think this one was $3, so that's always a good value if you can get it for $3. All right, hell yeah, that did not focus. But before we tear into that, we are going to make our orange juice. And so hey, this is liquid but still cold, and then we're gonna put it in our thermos full of ice. Booyah. All right, so we got the orange juice, and that was perfect timing. You know, buy it at the store, and it's still cold, and then we have this full of hopefully enough ice, and so we're going to, all right, do this. Oh hell yeah, that's way frozen. And so, all right, so now we're just going to fill the rest of it up with liquid water, and this is ice water, so we're going to do that. All right, we got that in there. We're going to cap it and then shake it. All right, we had a bit of room, and then it was too strong, and then so we just put a little bit of water in the top, give it a little quick shake, and then we're going to drink this. And then it's not too strong, so you can do that a few times. Always leave a little bit in the top. And if you feel like it's getting too strong, then you can dilute the top. It's not going to fully mix. See, now that's getting too strong, so we can do that same thing. Hell yeah. But oh, that's like super, it's slushy too. So that's really good. And hell yeah, and that's that ice in there. I'm going to keep this full though, because else the ice will just get into a big clump. All right, hell yeah, we got that. And I always keep extra silverware in the glove compartment. Always good to have towels so you don't get this everywhere. And then, booyah, I was at the coffee shop and I had breakfast, and it was just a little bit funky. You know what I mean? I've had good success for a long time, but then, yeah, one of the meals was just like, ugh. And so I was really happy to come out here to start burning some of that, you know, because, yeah, it kind of made my stomach turn a little bit. Hopefully it wasn't anything bad. It was just I'm kind of sensitive to different tastes or something. And we did change it up just slightly. I don't really want to talk about it, but hell yes, yeah, so we're going to eat this. And yeah, that doesn't look too good, but I definitely like the olive oil. And this is a pretty good brand, and so hell yeah, protein, booyah. All right, hell yeah, last little load. And we got kind of a bucket of small stuff. But yeah, we cleaned it up, because that was a little bit of an eyesore from the road, so it's good to be paying attention to stuff like that. And booyah. I might make my way just along just to see if there's anything else, but I think we're good to go. Good to go to the other part of the property on the other side. All right, there's always stuff like this that, you know what I mean, like there, and that drives me crazy, because if I, you know, don't get the big pieces, you know what I mean, like, yeah, that stuff definitely drives me crazy. And there's even one that I threw up here, so I'm glad I caught that. Because else, if you do get that, everything else just looks real nice, and you're just good to go for the year. All right, hell yeah. I'm always surprised what grows grass and what doesn't, but dang, that did. You know what I mean? And maybe I planted that, so that's kind of interesting. You know, maybe I threw some grass seed down and it finally took. Hell yeah. So let's kind of walk down here, because it's kind of a cool little path. I made this path so you can do a high traverse. And then down here. And so, hell yeah. A lot of this property just kind of borders up against Forest Service. And so here's the Forest Service line. Hell yeah. That's kind of interesting about this whole canyon is there's almost no public access to, you know, the creek and the Forest Service. Usually the creek is in Forest Service for most of the way, for most people's properties. And then, hell yeah. And so, all right, booyah. All right, so this pile is on our property, and so this is the other one that I might burn. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it's almost small enough where I could carry it over to the other side. One thing that I'm trying to work on, you know, just out of laziness, is to just build a quick bridge, you know, and I know how to weld too. And so it's just kind of interesting that, like, why wouldn't you I really dug making this raft out of poor man's fiberglass because it was just kind of a go for it. I think, like a lot of projects, you know, there's the right way, and then sometimes just going for it and learning as you go is kind of, sometimes that is the right way, you know what I mean? And so just do like a rough draft, get a bridge just kind of popping up and over here, even if it's more just like a playground equipment, you know, style. But hell yeah, that is definitely one thing I was interested. The other thing I was interested in, instead of a bridge, is to have, you know, either a tripod. I was going to do like a 4-thing tripod, and then a rope that you would have a hook to get it, and then you would swing from one side to the other. I thought that would be awesome. And I actually cut 4 pieces of timber to actually set that up. And so, hell yeah. All right, so let's save the juice. All right, hell yeah. So we have a pretty good pile going, and I'm going to show you the gear that we're going to use for burning. All right, so I definitely use welding gloves because you can pick up pretty much the hottest, logs. And then I just, I have sacrificed a shield. You're basically protecting yourself from the UV or just radiation, man. And so wool hat, and then a respirator. So that's full face protection, so I can just go for it. The thing that I forgot was my Carhartts. Carhartts go a long way. Especially I got really baggy ones and they're insulated because you go in and you'll just melt stuff. And so, man, this is synthetic. I gotta be really careful about not getting too close. That we did mess up. But, I mean, typically we just wear sweatshirts over the top too. So, just protecting yourself from that radiation. Now, the wind really was picked up, and so, but now it's finally calm. Like even just 10 minutes ago, it was like, oh, bummer. Felt like it was getting windier. But you know what I mean? So if you're burning in the evening time, hell yeah, it's pretty sweet. So, and yeah, so we're gonna do it. All right. So there's the pile of stuff, and we'll just start small. And really, I don't know. I think you can. Yeah, you just don't want to get a huge bonfire going because that'll just throw up embers. And, and this is a bad fire year. Everything's still pretty dry. But it is only May. I don't know what day it is. May 3rd. Yeah, it's May 4th. Yeah, hell yeah. May 4th. Anyway. And so, but it's cold. So, just the fact that the sun goes down and it's a cold day, that goes a long way, man. If you got embers that are just going, they'll probably put themselves out. There's nothing scarier than having a hot day. You just don't want that. Huge embers, and then they land, and if they land still glowing, but a day like today, the probability of them landing and burning is very slim. And the Forest Service really took care of this hillside and really thinned it out. And so they did burn piles. I don't know if you can kind of see, like there's one right there. But they did a really good job of clearing that. Okay, hell yeah. So let's get started. All right, hell yeah. And we also have a propane tank, and that's how we're going to light this puppy up. Let's do it.
Alright, yeah. Come up here. Still got a little bit of embers. But it's all going onto our property, which is, you know, well managed and doesn't have too much stuff, so hell yeah. But yeah, that wind's just a little bit, it's not going straight up. But I think that's kind of good because it really dissipates, it kind of dissipates those embers. And if you get this thing just going real hot, the smokestack will just get way high with the thermal, and so it'll just go straight up. And so the fact that we do have a little bit of wind, you know, kind of kicks these embers that way. And again, you know, all of this is well taken care of, so that's looking good. You know, if the wind was blowing into the farmer's field, or just that field, it's not a farm, but it's pretty dry grass. But everything over here is, like, again, well taken care of. Okay, I'm going to set up the camera. I don't know, hell yeah, I think this is pretty good view. Just gonna make sure the camera doesn't tip over. And hell yeah, so let's just do this view for a little while. Just hear the drone. And yeah, you can see that pile over there, so the pile's still pretty good size. Oh, we'll just keep moving.
Oh damn, I got lucky. My camera did not fall in the creek. That's crazy. Alright, so yep, I got lucky. Alright, that's pretty secure. Hell yeah. Alright, hell yeah, so we're looking pretty good. Now, I think it actually is set up pretty good. Kind of nice and tall. Because you know it's not burning fast. You need a lot of oxygen for it to burn fast, and it's way less bright than the camera shows. The camera is overexposed, and so it's definitely charcoal looking. But it'll burn like this for a long time, and so what you want to do is kind of like estimate you're reducing the weight of it, and then you want to start shifting it around into smaller piles. And that's kind of the name of the game, because all the coals that could break apart even right now are not helping. They're cutting oxygen, and so you want to do is really kind of be able to bust those up and get them to the ground. And so it means like spreading this thing out and then pushing it back together. Because even like I'm gonna 10 minutes. But that's what I've learned from doing this. As long as the pile you can get close with all the precautions, it's very helpful to make a pile where you can scatter it and then collect it back together. And what you want to do is you want to rake the coals out too to the side. And so to have like double the diameter, rake the coals out to the side, and then have shoes where you can kind of walk on the coals and because I'm not trying to turn it into dust. I'm just trying to turn it into less than, let's say, 4-inch, chunks. And even if I'm left with a pile, like a fire pit pile of logs that don't burn, that can easily be taken to the dump or, done in the next burn pile. And so those are the things that really mess up your burn pile for like speed. If you're trying to get out of here, if you're trying to save an hour or two off your burn, then that's the strategies. Don't try to burn everything to the ground. And at some point you got to destroy this and get all that ash out of there, because that's clogging up the oxygen. But like I said, we're doing pretty good. I'll let you enjoy this.
Alright, hell yeah. Alright, hell yeah. So I'm all geared up. And we even have like the car lights starting to shine on it too, so hell yeah, and it definitely reduced in size. I definitely noticed that. So here's the time to break it all up. Here we go. Alright, hell yeah.
Cool. And so I'm gonna try to walk around with the camera just so it's not so overexposed. Alright, hell yeah. I don't know if I actually recorded the breaking of it up, but we definitely took the rake and we really broke it up. Hopefully we caught that. But now it's nice and wide. And look, it's like almost done. Like you could douse it right now and you would just have like a little truckload. I mean, that stuff was so big, and I would say we're about the hour mark, you know what I mean? And so you can think of that. You could think like, hey, I'm just gonna do a burn pile for an hour and then let's douse it and get the hell out of here. I think there is something satisfactory about trying to get it as far down as, you know, possible. But honestly, I'm just going to wait another 10 minutes and try to get some of the big stuff to one side, try to get that burned for another 10 minutes, and then scatter it out. But, like, honestly, I got to, you know, I mean, that's the medicine that I came up with, that you could literally start dousing it right now and walk away, and then you would have just a little truckload of lumber to take to the dump. Compared to what we had was just a ton of brush. And so, you know what I mean? And the dump is actually more eco-friendly. It'd be more eco-friendly to douse it right now because your carbon content is going to be maybe longer. You know, it's going to go into wood chips and it's going to slow that process. And so, hell yeah. But yeah, this will burn for quite a while. And so again, just another 10 minutes. And I'm going to see how much battery life I have left. All right, we only got 24% juice. So we'll see. But you know, honestly, I have tried to film the dousing, but because it's so dark now, you know what I mean? It's not like super dark in the sky. This is such a prime time to burn. Like the wind totally died down. So all you have to do is just wait for sunset. Yeah, so we'll try to film as much as possible. We got 24% juice. I think you want to see more of the time lapse. So I'm going to go put this camera. I think I'm going to put the camera just right here on the hill. So then it has no chance of falling in the creek. All right, catch you on the flip side. All right, hell yeah, that's a great little shot because you have the sky, and I don't know if it's the greatest shot of the fire, but we'll leave it like this just for a little while. You can see the car lights on the cliff.
Hell yeah. Got a couple piles.
But had we not knocked that down, that pile would have just stayed like that. I mean, you could have a pile like that all night because it's not getting oxygen. All the ash is just in a big pile, and it starves the oxygen. You really want an airy pile. Hell yeah. And honestly, I'm just going to cut it at maybe 10 minutes because, like I said, I don't mind not getting all of this stuff because I'm going to try to do another burn pile on another little piece of, it's a different piece, but it's a different piece of property. I mean, the same property is just, let's say, 100 yards from here. And I was going to do it maybe tomorrow, but tonight's a perfect night because it's cold and I'm out here. And so, hell yeah. I mean, like I said, I could douse this right now, but I'm at least going to give it 10 minutes. Booyah. All right, hell yeah. 20 minutes. All right, so let's take these piles down and restack them. Oh, bummer, my bad. I had something covering the lens. All right, hell yeah, here we go.
Oh, hell yeah. It's definitely pretty small. There's the whole pile. Just down to a little campfire.
All right, hell yeah. So I was able to sort through all the ash. So that's all the wood. And we have another pile around the corner burning. And so just a small little campfire. So then we can watch this burn down. But once that other one's done, I think I'm gonna go over and douse it right now. I'm just gonna come and douse this and get the hell out of here.
Alright, hell yeah, my phone's dead, but hopefully you can see me douse it.